Good morning. Mike Austin on your morning wake up here, 1320 WILS. It's 7:09. Has bumped in 7:10. And are you looking forward to your retirement? Maybe today's the day you do that. Maybe you've got another year, 5 years. Do you count it down? Why? Because that's how we're programmed. I'm going to get all off. We could spend a whole show on the conspiracy theory of retirement and things like that. And yeah, we do slow down in our later years. Things change, but work is work. Your contribution to society just morphs a little bit. I took my father-in-law fishing with me over the weekend, and he hadn't done that in a long time, but that's his life now. Of course, he's 88 years old, but he has a great pension from Dow Corning, and he paid his dues, he lived his life, but that meant he was told this, pave the way, you can relax, you can just sit back in your old age. By doing so, he now has nothing to contribute. So I try to find ways for him to contribute both mentally and whatever physically he can do. I bring all that up because your mental health, physical health are all connected, and your mindset. There's a reason people in nursing homes need, games and interaction, and we're social creatures. Joining us now, I know I'm going to get way off, and he's the expert. Let's turn it over to Regional Psychological Services, my good friend, Dr. John Braccio, and our weekly, every Tuesday, Hey, What's Up, Doc segment. Hey, what's up, Doc? Good morning.
Well, listen, good talking to you, and that was a great introduction, I might add. And I think good mental health really is greatly enhanced when a person does not let chronological years determine how old they are. Now, this may seem inconsistent or impossible with, what seems obvious. But my point is that if a person wants to live a long and healthy life, it is best they determine how they feel and not let the calendar get in the way, okay? Persons who always feel they're old and life is passing them by, they really do run the risk of actually dying sooner and not having good health. It's really proven that persons who are positive about life and don't let really years determine, terms of how happy they're going to be, okay? Hey, I can honestly say I've known 40 and 50-year-olds who behave like they're old and on their last legs and just waiting for their last days on earth, okay? I also have known and do know many 70, 80, and even 90-year-olds who are in the prime of life and enjoying what they do every day. Even if they're slowed down, this age certainly can do that. They're still doing what they can. And one example was a 92-year-old I knew who was in the midst driving his daughter and grandchildren to Florida in a large mobile home, okay? Another example I'll give is my father, who at 80 was fully vibrant and operating a furniture store in Grand Rapids.
Awesome.
If you want to live as long a life as possible being happy, the best thing to do, Mike, is you approach each day as a unique experience to enjoy and try to learn something new and be positive. I really think we all know persons who are not that chronologically old, but they behave like they're very old, and we can see their physical vitality. It really goes down as they seem to really be just, sounds like a terrible thing to say, but waiting for the Undertaker, okay?
Oh, boy.
What they say is their strength is diminishing, that they're just getting older and accepting their fate. And I'm not talking about people that do have clear physical ailments that are reducing their life expectancy and could have them die young. No, I'm talking about persons who are generally healthy, but allow a calendar to determine their level of happiness and how long they're going to live. My advice to them is to realize this type of thinking is rubbish, okay? And now's the time, really free yourself and live each day by getting as much out of it as you can, and you look forward to the next day to enjoy, okay? Just like you're living. It also is true that the persons who behave like they're older than their age, they also run the risk of depression. And, depression's bad any time, but if it comes as you're older and you're not really working to function to be more effective, it can really wear you down and it really make for a very difficult life for you, okay? Now, what do? What you have to do is you've got to have positive attitudes physically and emotionally, really, that help you overcome being in that type of condition at any age, but particularly when you're older and maybe just not doing anything and even isolated. So it's clear if a person is not using their cognitive and thinking abilities, they're going to lose them. They're going to find their short-term memory is going to go, their executive function in terms of how they're functioning, able to make decisions, move forward will diminish, consistent with the lack of effort that they're doing. Now, things to do to not allow this, really, not to let the calendar control you. You want to really have a healthy lifestyle. You want to be eating good. You want to be not smoking much. You want to be controlling alcohol consumption. You want to be controlling a factor like high blood pressure. You want to be consistently exercising. And you really want to be still in contact, connected with people. You have to do that, okay? Otherwise, you just kind of can wither away emotionally, too. And so it's really important that you be doing things and be active. And you don't want to look at an hourglass. Like I did talk to a person, actually a cousin of mine, who, by the way, is well into his 80s, who made a contact. Well, that hourglass, there's not that much left in there. And I said, well, hey, don't look at the hourglass glass and just enjoy yourself as much as you can. Hey, just be doing things, okay? So
Yeah.
I think if you're trying to do things, you're exercising, you're eating healthy, you're taking a positive view each day, you're looking forward to tomorrow as a continuum of a view, and just enjoying it until there aren't any more to enjoy. You want to enjoy your last day maybe as much as your earlier days. How does that sound? So if you do this, you're going to live longer, okay, and you're going to enjoy each day. So my advice is really go for it. Go for it with gusto. Mike.
Yeah.
Now, you seem like you're going to be a young guy when you're older, okay? And because I consider you. Well, hey, but why not? Why not enjoy? If you really look at things, life has turmoil. It has stressors. It has things that can wear you down. But when you kind of give up and you say, golly, I'm 70 or I'm 80 or I'm 60 or whatever it is, and I got to realize, just got to get everything ready for me to go. And I say, well, that may be a good idea, but there's no reason to think that's going to happen right now. But if you just sit in a chair and you just watch TV, or you just kind of look out the window and you're waiting for the fall to come, the change in season, you're waiting for the winter snow to come, and then you're waiting for spring, and you're waiting for that you're not part of it. So I think what you were saying about with your father-in-law, you're getting him out, having him do things. I think that's good, and being around people. These are all important things. We don't all of a sudden quit being a social animal because we hit a certain age and because we retired. No, rubbish is my word. I think we have to get out there. We have to be active. We have to be trying to do as much as we can. And just millions of people, they just they kind of graduate to TV watching. Okay, they graduate to, well,
yeah.
Mike, listen, you don't know how many people lead really dull and really non-eventful lives because they've ultimately made choices and put themselves in situations that that's what their life is. So, hey, go for it, Mike. Enjoy it. Why not?
Yeah, and at some point, at some point, I mean, we've all had experiences, but if you live to be 88, 90 years old, something like that, at some point, physically you can't mow the lawn, or, well, maybe you can, but I mean, my wife's Grandpa Roy, mowed his lawn in Saginaw. He mowed his lawn until he was 99 years old.
Now, that's impressive.
Yeah, I mean, people watched him. I mean, you watched him close, but he was doing it. But here's the thing, Doc, is you still have contributions to make, even if you're not mentally all the way there. And like I've said to the rest of the family, I said, by golly, he has paid his dues, talking about my wife's dad, 88. Does he forget? Yep. Do I forget? Come on, we all forget stuff. But like my girls were saying the other day, they said, Papa says the same stories over. And I said, yep, he sure does. And he lived every one of those. And you can say them back by heart to him. Pretend it's the first time you heard it. Because that's his thing, He's giving you advice.
And, they really ought to write them down. Back in the early 70s, I spent hours interviewing my dad about his early days. He came from Italy in 1903 when he was 8, and all the experiences going into business. And those are things that really the generations want to see and hear, and it keeps the mind active. People like to talk, and I like your idea for your daughters. Every time Grandpa tells a story, to him it's a new story, and he's sharing his story, and don't get mad about it. Just kind of enjoy it. And aging now, mind you, I'm not denying aging slows you down. I've given up on my NFL football career. Okay, so
No, you could still play.
Well, maybe so, but at this point, I'm thinking maybe I'll just continue doing things that I'm doing. So we do accept there are limitations on what we're doing, and we gradually, we take that into account. So I'm not minimizing that age does not have an impact on us, but it doesn't have to be something that we just turn ourselves into an old person waiting for the Undertaker when we're 50, 60 years old. Rubbish, no. Come on, enjoy life, do things. It's a one-time ride, and the older you get, you're going to realize if you haven't been really enjoying the ride, and you're just wasting, you're just treading water in life. So you have to be enjoying yourself. You have to be around people. You have to find activities that keep you going. And they're going to be maybe different activities as you live your life, but they're going to be things that keep you going. And I like your point with your father-in-law. You're out fishing with him, and he's still telling these stories. I like that. And they're going to miss those stories, by the way. And they're going to remember those stories.
Do you know how many times I heard the story over the weekend? It must have been at least 10 times on Saturday, in one day. This reminds me of when Harleen and I were out in the boat in Saginaw Bay. We were out and she was catching fish right and left on the other side of the boat. I didn't even have a bite. Finally, I put my pole down and I went over and she said, "What are you doing?" He said, "You're catching. I'm just going to keep taking them off your hook for you." That story happened probably at least 10, 15 times in one day. But that's, and maybe and he'll see, now he knows, and he'll go like, "I may have told you this before, but but you have things to contribute. You have thoughts, ideas, and then there are people who, and we've got plenty of time. Don't worry about it. Doc Braccio, Regional Psychological Services, because mental health, this is all plays into it, but yourself, people listening right now are going to be, yeah, that's fine and good for you guys. I got bills I got to pay. That's my everyday. What do you say to those folks that, because we get caught up in that, gosh, we're underwater. We got to do this. We got to do that.
Here's my view. You kind of have to take life as it comes. There are struggles. Yes, there are. You have to recognize and do that. However, you have to also be enjoying each day. You have to find the positive in the day. You have to take a time out, even for a few minutes at a time. If you let life overwhelm you, it will. It'll be a giant tidal wave just knocking you over. And then you also have to take a look at your life. This is a whole separate topic, but you have to look at your life and say, who am I? Where am I? What am I doing? This particular road I'm on, is it the right road? Is it a good road? Are there changes I can make? Can I take turns? This is all part of the road of life, Mike. People make changes. We're changing all the time. I don't care how old you are, how experienced you are. You're always going to find things that you can learn, you can move forward in life. And once you just get overwhelmed in a hole and you let people keep, putting dirt on you, okay, then that's where you're going to stay. That's where you do have to take a time out, look at your life. You got to figure where are things you can do that can make you happy. And I don't care what struggles you're in. You can always find that time just to do some deep breathing. Try to get a song in my heart. You've got to try to find something that can make your life, really better. It can be a spiritual experience. It can be, finding purpose. It can be meeting new people, even new jobs, new things. It's a one-time shot. We may have spiritual beliefs and believe in an eternity, and that may very well be there. I'm not questioning that, but all you know about is the now. This is what you've got. Your goal is to live it. Try to make the world better than when you came into it. Okay, try to make an impact, but you've got to enjoy life. You've got to find good things in it and focus on them, and don't find the negativity, because you can find negativity everywhere, and you really don't want to do that. No,
and if you need to talk to someone, it doesn't hurt. Talk to someone professional. That's why we have Regional Psychological Services. Sometimes like talking to an old friend. You are my old friend. Old friend?
I'm thinking your mother-in-law must have been quite a fisherwoman. How does that sound?
She was a genius. I got stories about Harleen, boy. Dr. John Braccio, Regional Psychological Services again. Thank you, pal. We'll talk again next week.
Okay, nice talking to you, buddy. Bye-bye.
See ya. Bye-bye. 1320 WILS. Good information for you. Good stuff. Yeah. That's what we're about here. Sunshine, hazy today with those that air quality alert thing. 84 later on. We'll do this and come right back and get you up to news time. It's 7:25 here on your morning wake up. Mike Austin with you on 1320 WILS.